Why do people commit horrible acts of violence? Well, Dr. Philip Zimbardo, world-renowned psychologist and living legend, pioneered work into why people do evil things to each other. He also is Siciliano. How cool is that? So keep watching, because there is a huge surprise that I found in Dr. Zimbardo's background. I was stunned to find this. It was definitely not something I was expecting to get at all. Well, Dr. Zimbardo was born in the Bronx in New York City in March of 1933. His parents are Giulio and Margaret, and while his wiki page says he's Italian, he actually is not Italian. Dr. Zimbardo was a proud Siciliano, and he's most well known, of course, for the Stanford Prison Experiment. I mean, he's done 50 years worth of work, but that's where he's most known for. And there are also several movies that were made about the experiment in 2001, and then there was one in 2015. Now, he did this experiment after getting his doctorate at Yale, and he also taught for a bit at Columbia. And this prison experiment was a simulation of a prison, and it was supposed to be 2 weeks long, and they had a group of college-age men that were pre-screened, and they were otherwise healthy, normal adults and stable, and they split half of them up to be prison guards, and half of them were prisoners. And it had to be stopped in less than 2 weeks, and his future wife, who's also a PhD psychologist, had to step in because Dr. Zimbardo actually started playing a part in the experiment. And Dr. Zimbardo talks a lot about a kid he grew up with that was equally intrigued by the question of why would otherwise normal people commit horrible acts of violence. That kid's name is Stanley Milgram.
Stanley Milgram was a high school classmate in the Bronx in James Monroe High School, and he has two very dangerous questions. Would you electrocute a stranger?
But he's also just as famous as Dr. Zimbardo for his experiment on obedience to authority. He wanted to look into why, during World War II, the German people, the Nazis, had done such horrific things. And it's really unfortunate that these two childhood friends have had the same criticism leveled at them, that their two experiments are considered two of the most unethical psychological experiments. This is, I think, is pretty dang harsh, considering the fact that, hey, Nazis, and then what the Japanese also did during World War II, some horrific things like the rape of Nanking, and of course, what the United States or CIA have done, thinking things like MK Ultra, which did happen. So I think the criticism that, yeah, there's ethical issues for sure, but they're certainly not the worst, considering, hey, Nazis. And Dr. Zimbardo has written extensively on the subject of people committing evil acts, including the Lucifer effect, and he's spoken out quite a bit against the abuses of the United States Army in Iraq. And his work has had a big influence on my own work. So I really admire Dr. Zimbardo's work. But Dr. Zimbardo's family is not just from Sicily. See, that fact alone is really cool, which is why I want to do the video. Yeah, but there's so much more to it. I was shocked at this. So I'll get to that in a second. See, I had the idea to do this video last year, but I just wasn't able to get around to it. But one day I'm going, on a Sunday morning, I'm going through the Carini baptism records on Family Search. And of course, Carini is the town me and familia hail from, and it's in the Palermo province. And I came across this October 9th, 1720 baptism record for Geronima Vincenza Zimbardo. Her parents are Giovanni and Rosa. Now, names do evolve. Zimbardo is like Gamino. Now, you probably never heard the name Gamino, but you definitely heard the name Gambino. And just as Gamino became Gambino, Zimbardo became Zimbardo. Now, this I can show on Giovanni and Rosa's son Pasquale's marriage record. See, it's now Zimbardo. So this record reminded me, hey, I've got a video planned for Dr. Zimbardo as a famous Siciliano. So I decided to get back into it and see where in Sicilia his family actually were from. Now, Dr. Zimbardo, the fact that he's born in 1933, I know I can get him on the 1940 census. So I go to Ancestry.com on my account, and I found this. The 1940 census, his parents are listed, and his father is listed as being from Pennsylvania. Well, Philadelphia and other areas are very common for Sicilian and other immigrants, of course. I'm not going to show everything, but I went to the 1910 census. I was able to find this record, and of course, Dr. Zimbardo's grandparents are on it, and that is Filippo. He's named for his grandfather. The European naming tradition, the firstborn male is named after the father's father, which is, of course, Filippo. What's interesting, what got my attention right away, is the fact that there's a Mazzola family living with them. Now, Mazzola is a family name, and it's very common to where Mia Famiglia from Carini. So we have Filippo Zimbardo and his wife Vita Marino. Now, okay, so Zimbardo and Marino, not common names in Carini, but Mazzola is. I know there's almost no chance that these two are from Carini, almost zero. And I haven't found a single member of my family from Carini who immigrated to the Bronx. It was always Brooklyn, Manhattan, or Queens. I have to just get in and check the records. So when I get into the records, I want to look at the Carini marriage records, because given the age of Filippo and Vita Marino, there's a good, if they were from Carini or married there, there's a good chance that there's a record of it, because they go up to 1910. And sure enough, 20 November 1901, Vita Marino married a Filippo Zimbardo in Carini, Sicilia. And it lines up with the age of their children. Now, this could just be a coincidence. Vita is a common name, but you got to be sure. Right? We have to have the records. Despite the fact that Zimbardo and Marino are not very common names in Carini, and I have to keep that in mind, I found Filippo's naturalization record, and the birthday matches up. Here you go. There it is. And this is his July 8th, 1882 Carini baptism record. Remember, back then, 120-something years ago, 140 years ago, birth and baptism were usually done on the same day. Now, I have a lot of American records where the whoever immigrated just put down Palermo and not Carini. But Carini is in Palermo. But I had to have more solid evidence. I had to have something with Carini on it. I didn't want to post a video until it was bulletproof. Whoa! So what I did was I looked at the fact that Filippo's brother, Vincenzo, he immigrated also. And I found his naturalization record, and right there, not only is he from Carini, but his wife, Marguerite Mineo, is also from Carini. I mean, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. Wow. This guy, a living legend. He's not just from Sicily, but his familia is from Carini. And not only that, with the information I currently have, he's a fifth cugino or cousin to my great-grandfather, mio bisnonno, Pietro Rendazzo. In fact, Marguerite Mineo is a fourth cugina, so she's actually more closely related. Now, I know it's kind of distant, but how cool is that? Someone that I've really admired for all these years is actually from Carini and related. And it gets even better, because I took the outside chance and I contacted Dr. Zimbardo online, and even though he's almost 90, he did respond after a while, and he did confirm that the American records I had, like draft records, he did confirm that they were his family. I already saw from the Carini records, and I had I have the Vincenzo Zimbardo's naturalization, but it was great to be able to contact him and provide a lot of these documents that he had never seen before. So the last thing I want to show is this. This is really cool. This is his high school yearbook. And again, he spoke a lot and did grow up with Stanley Milgram. And here is Stanley Milgram in the high school yearbook. Wow. Someone whose work I've admired is not just from Sicily. His family is from Carini, and we are related, even if it's only fifth cousin. But, with more information, he may be more closely related to one of my other great-grandparents. This was an awesome surprise, and I got to have some contact with him, and I'm respectful of everyone's privacy, though I do hope I get the chance to speak with him soon. So thanks for watching, and sub so you don't miss any videos. I got a lot more in this series of famous Sicilians. Maybe a few more will also be related to Mia Famiglia, but we'll see.